welcome. This is Kevin, also known as Zaywall, and this is my fifth ornament that I've been making. So this is a bit different, guys. This one was surprising. Well, no, I can't say it's surprisingly easier. I knew going into this that this was going to be an easier one. What I didn't realize was when we were putting together this pattern, um, just how much better I was really making it. I made it so that way the light color that makes the X, it just bounces off of the light blue color. And then the two reds that come in made it really easy to be. So, like, you'll see when you first get it done, like when you first do the X right here, you do these four knots, which basically makes up the little square, right? So now we'll go off to the side and add in this blue thing, and that bumps one of the reds back in. That allows it to make that extra little row really, really easily. Like that, I did not plan that ahead, but it turns out that like that was like ideal. So watch what comes in the other side, um, does the thing, bounces the pink one, the blue comes straight down. And now that one single red goes in, and then it lines up for the next pink to come in and do the X again. So this pattern worked really, really, really well. I'm like so pleased with this one. In fact, pretty much all of this went just as I kind of expected it to. Um, I think I said kind of early on too in the pattern that I expected where the pieces were going to come together, that would become interesting. And yeah, it really adds like this another dimension to the whole overall pattern. Um, so yeah, you'll get to see that a little bit further on down. But um, honestly, if you're considering trying out this ornament, yeah, this really works out cool. Um, didn't have any mistakes. It was really like so kind of intuitive that once you kind of get it going, it's pretty easy. I think here, I end up working away from the clip because I kind of wanted to show how making one piece is. I don't show making all four. That would be just a bunch of waste of time for the video. I have to make four of these things, and then they obviously, if you watch the pattern, and it's basically a pattern as well as what the template of the whole thing, you'll know that you make four of these, the four of them join together. That's the whole gist of it. It's not crazy rocket science. It is crafting science, and that makes it a little something special, but it really wasn't so bad. You'll notice when I make the X, I always kind of roll it over to the right. For one, it's for me, those are like a bit easier as far as the knot goes. Um, but it's going to keep it rotating each time. Um, oh, I did cut the strings in six, like like one skein into six pieces. Um, that wasn't my original intention. I meant to make them a bit longer, but it worked out. They're kind of tight, I mean, not terribly, but typically I like to have a little bit more to work with at the end, and it did make me a little bit nervous. But that said, I did save some floss in doing it this way, so that's kind of up to you. Getting near the end of this one, you can see it's finishing off, and then it just ends with the darker reddish color making the square. So then, okay, like I said, we make one. From there, make three more. So once I have all four of these things built, I then go into, and it's unfortunate that when I'm recording, I didn't realize it was up so high, but you put them end to end, and then it comes down. Not super difficult. It's nice to have like two clips, one on each piece, so that way you can bring them together really well, and that way you get a really nice um, big diamond, really nice and flat and stuff in the middle. Um, like I suppose, I suppose you could use the bigger bull clip, but you're going to have it, it's going to be harder to get them both in place and then clamp it when if you do it this way, you get one into place and then you bring in the second one and you shift it and move it and get it to where you want it. And then the second clip holds that. That's how I found it to be easiest. Your results may vary. Um, but yeah, so this is two coming together, and that will be no different from the next one that comes on and the one after that. How I did it was um, I put the okay, let's say this is the bottom of it. I add the top part before I go to adding anything else in. All right, so I don't. You theoretically you could go straight across and just keep them coming down. But I thought that that might, when it came time to flipping it over and doing the other side, um, that there it might kind of bend in the wrong way or get kind of out of shape. So I thought that having all four and then going to the next one, adding one more, and then going to the next one. Um, I think that's just a personal preference. I'm really not sure that that's something that would break it per se. I mean, it's just theoretically, it seems a sounder way to do it like this. Um, oh, and you can kind of see here, like this is how much string is kind of left over. Like it's there, it was not a lot of floss, but hey, it got me through it all. I'm happy with that, and it was even enough left over that Mandy did the kumis to create the loop with the last 8 strings at the top there. So it's not it's not bad. It's just like I said, it's one of those things where it just feels a little uncomfortable as you're getting close. Um, yeah, this is getting really close to the end here. There's one more X, and then it hits the end. So, uh, yeah, I could see definitely trying some other patterns for it. You don't have to use this one. As long as you just have those 4 pieces, it works. I just happen to really like how this one turned out. This could have been fun in a lot of colors. My friends were saying that this looked like there's some kind of a thing in the Orthodox church that's sort of like this or something. Like if you watch Monty Python, my immediately thought was the holy hand grenade. But apparently that's based on something like an Orthodox thing. So there it is. That's you can see I flipped it over. I worked on the other side. That's the cool diamond in the center. I think that is amazing. And it just keeps getting better. So here it is, kind of looking like the International Space Station or something. And I brought in this is like a cutting board, and I clipped it to my clipboard. I took this and basically have it so that way it's going to come around and allow me to put the two ends together. So I put it behind that board, all right, and then bring this in. And then I use a clip. There it is. And see, again, now I don't have to fiddle with that anymore. I can go to the other side. I can concentrate on just getting that one piece in there. Um, and or even getting it slid up a little higher because it did seem a bit low. Um, and then it takes a little bit of dialing it in because I need to get the strings to go up and the strings to go down to go down. And that was the same when I was joining the other pieces. It was a bit of a playing with it and getting it just right. And it can get a little fiddly. But just have a little bit of patience. It all comes together really nice. Um, wasn't quite close enough. I knew that like when I first started to put that first knot in there. Um, I didn't go all four in one direction because I really wanted to get it as even looking as possible. I wanted it to be really nice and make these really great points of interest. So I tried to make sure that didn't kind of lean to one side or anything. Um, and then this part here, at first I was a little like, when first joining these, but then when I realized like the way that it comes together, the way that it gives you the extra like two light blues in a box where it's only been one every other one, just really, I just really like how this whole pattern came out. So yeah, at this point, we're basically, I talked about in the pattern making that there would be like an equator. So this is where we're taking and joining the four that we first put together. And now it's basically become the equator. And then we have all of the lines going up and down. I should know what they call that. There's, yeah, I don't remember. Um, could have looked it up before the video and sounded smart, but I don't remember. But anyways, um, so yeah, the equator is basically built. We're now putting in, oh, it's longitude and latitude. Longitude is this way, latitude. So we're building the latitude part. Hey, I got it. Um, so yeah, and then it all basically just kind of comes together. So like, there's really okay. Each segment, each one of the little whatevers took me about 20 minutes. So it's not something that just goes together in an hour. It doesn't. It takes a while. So like 20, 40, 60, 80 plus another 20, 40, 60, 80, 20, 40, 60, 80. So 80 times 3, which I have no idea what that is. A lot. Um, and then the whole tying the bits that join the north and south pole. So takes a little while. So have some patience. Um, it turns out really cool though. Like I am seriously gonna love hanging this up. Um, it is. These segments are the same size segments that we did with the other ornaments, and if you remember, the other ornaments are really kind of tiny, and this one is like a kind of a basically the basic size of like a regular ornament, like the kind that basically we have. I mean, I know there's bigger ones and stuff, but yeah, that's a pretty respectable size piece. Oh, okay. So I flipped the whole thing over. I kind of left it in the clips like I had it. Flipped the whole thing over, and then just worked the last side there. And yeah, that doesn't take too long before. Yeah, I end up leaving the clip off. Everything's kind of held in place pretty well at this point, and I want everything to kind of take shape and get tightened up nice. Um, it really wasn't difficult. This is by far the easiest one so far, and I had predicted that. I really did think that this would be easier, and it was nice. So let's see. Kind of, there's like so much of the video, and like recording different areas and making sure I try to get a little bit of everything and make sure that I kind of show you guys all the stuff that is this thing. So I just don't want to miss anything for you. Um, but yeah, if you have questions, let me know. Um, I'll do my best to answer them. I can't imagine that I missed anything, but again, it is really really possible. Oh, so when you first kind of get it all kind of sewn up and you flip it around and stuff, you do kind of have to sit there and sort of give it its shape and make sure that it's nice and whatever. But that doesn't take a whole lot. It really kind of wants to fall into this shape, I think. And the great part is I mean, I can throw this in a box; it's never going to break. So that's kind of I can throw it in a washing machine; it's never going to break. This part got a little bit weird. So now I'm trying to get all the strings on the right to go off to the right and the ones to the left to go to the left. And it's like, oh my God, there were just so much string all over the place. Crazy. So once I and then realize, wait a minute, I have to turn the whole thing inside out because in order to connect the poles, it needs to be inside out so that way the knots tying the strings together will be on the inside as opposed to the outside. So once I kind of got it turned around and then all the strings sorted out, I threw it into a clip and then I invited Mandy in. So there she is, um, tying it up. And now okay, so this would be the South Pole. So she's going to go and take all the knots all the way down, including the darker red ones. So we have a nice dark red square right in the center of the South Pole. When we get around to the North Pole, everything gets tied in knots except for the red ones, and they kind of have to go off through one of the holes somewhere. So that way, when we turn it all around, they all come out and can get turned into the kumi. So there was a lot of, you know, do a side, do a bit, get it connected, kind of rotate it. Didn't matter. It's you can tell it's like bent out of shape. Yeah, there that wasn't a thing. Get them basically kind of close to each other. When she started putting in the knots, it pulled it together. Again, at this point, shaping it, any of that stuff does not matter at all. Um, I took each one of the pieces coming in and I did the thing like we do with the bracelets where you start with the first one, you put the second one over it, go to the third one, that goes over the first two, go to the next one. So that way I brought in all the strings and then tied it in a knot. So there's four individual knots for the four different things coming in inside, as opposed to trying to put it into one great big knot, which would have been way more noticeable. So that's what kind of allows it to kind of blend in there a bit. Yeah, you can see here I'm trying to do it right there. And it's instead of just doing one at a time, it was doing two at a time. So it's like the two from there and then the two and then the two, the two. So that got the whole South Pole thing done. Now it was on to the North. And yeah, that was pretty cool. That's you can see like here she is, she's taking the red ones out. She just kind of got them off to the side at this point. You'll see before the last one, we pulled them up and through. It got a little bit dodgy as to how to kind of move those around. Yeah, you see my hands come in there and start. And then, yeah, I pulled it through and it brought in a bunch of other strings. And then I had to fight with it a bit. And we finally got it to where it was down to the last one. All the reds are through one side, and she's putting together this last bit over here. Mind you, when doing this kind of stuff, like this is new, not like a tutorial I could watch to go see how to do it, right? So kind of making it up and figuring it out as we go along. Although most of this I'd kind of already envisioned what we were going to do about it before getting into it, but yeah, that was the whole thing there. So now I do the same thing again. I bring these in to tie four knots. I you can see how I'm kind of grouping them together like that. And then chopping it off, then go to the next one. So yeah, then you can kind of see in there. There's the knots that we have on the inside. You can see the diamonds are pretty neat. And then Mandy just took, so as far as the red ones go, there would be 8 strands on for each of these, right? So there's like two from here, two from here, two from here, two from there. So there's your 8, and the same for the other side. And that's how she was able to make the kumi loop out of the actual materials and stuff. Mind you, you could have just knotted it up the same as we did on the bottom and then just attached a string to it. That it wasn't necessary if you don't have kumi skills and you're not interested in doing that. That would be an alternative way of making it. But like I said, I mean, it's totally mushable, and then you can just sort of pull it back into shape. So yeah, it's it's kind of nice. It's something that would, I'm sure, last. I mean, if the regular bracelets like I wear last many years, like I've had one like this last me 6 years, wearing it every single day, I'm sure an ornament that you pull out for a month or so once a year is probably going to last for many, many generations. So I think this is a really cool project, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Even if you don't aren't into Christmas or whatever, I'm sure that you could have some fun with stuff like this for whatever kind of decoration. So again, hopefully you guys enjoy it. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.